Okay, welcome to writing lesson number 2, which is essentially a continuation from writing lesson number 1. We're going to talk more in depth with bad words and weak verbs and how you should not use those in your writing. So, what I consider to be bad words are you and thing, because you don't want to speak directly to your reader and you want to use a very specific word. You don't want to say I in an academic analysis. Now, I is okay in a narrative or a personal writing, but you don't want to say I. You don't want to say stuff because that's even worse than thing as far as being unspecific. It, same thing, or any variation of any of these words. Now, another bad word or phrase, rather, is the reader. And you might be a little surprised by this because maybe even English teachers, maybe even I in English 2 or English 1 taught you to say the reader. But in an AP course and in an upper level course, you want to be more specific as to who the reader is, meaning you want to say who the specific intended audience is of the writer. So let's start by looking at some examples of bad words in phrasing. As you can see, the causes are indisputable. Again, from writing lesson 1, you can say as one can see, or consequently, the causes are indisputable. Many things cause discrimination. You can replace the word things with concepts or, actually tell what things cause discrimination. You never want to say, in this paper, I will discuss the causes of discrimination. Just come right out and say it in your thesis statement. Lots of stuff cause discrimination, yo. You never, ever, ever want to talk like that. And then finally, and this isn't really the bad phrase or the worst phrase you could say, but you wouldn't want to say this causes the reader to feel anxious. You just want to be specific. Now, here is a nice handout of some very strong, specific verbs rather, that you can replace some of your weaker verbs with. On the left, you can see some weak verbs, and I never, ever, ever want to see these in your paper. Now, it's very challenging to try to leave out verbs such as is and are, but I challenge you to think of a better, stronger, more specific verb. So rather than just say, the writer is using metaphor, just say the writer's metaphor attributes to the tone, or the writer's metaphor confirms his perspective. The writer's metaphor exemplifies the central idea. And so you're just picking and pulling from this list of wonderful verbs. And again, it does take a little extra effort on your part, but that's what being in an upper level in an AP course is putting forth more effort to better yourself as a writer. Another weak verb is says. The author says. You want to be more specific with that. Is the author asserting? Is the author arguing? Is the author alluding or considering or connotes or directs? You can pull from these more specific words and use them in your paper. The final slide I have is a wonderful gift to you. You're welcome. And that is the power of the apostrophe. And basically, restating the prompt question is good and addressing the prompt is good, but sometimes it cramps a writer's style. So it's better to use strong verbs and be concise. But here is a fix for both of those issues. That fix is to use an apostrophe. So let's look at some examples here. Dr. King uses figurative language to develop his central idea of equality. So the weak verb here is uses. And you might think, well, that's not really a bad word, Miss Vera. It's not that big of a deal, but it is a weak verb, and you can have a stronger, more specific verb. One way to do that is to just eliminate uses altogether and use the power of an apostrophe here. This is a little better. Dr. King's figurative language develops a central idea of equality. Easy fix. Eliminate the weak verb, use an apostrophe. But here is an even better example, or the best example. Since figurative language lends itself to many types of things, you would want to be more specific in what he actually uses or employs. You could say Dr. King's metaphor and striking diction develop his central idea of equality. And that is good, specific writing using elevated verbs. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.